Hello family, karibuni tena to MentifyTz. It's been a while, it's been a minute, and happy new year kwa wale ambao tulisalimiana, and welcome back. Leo we're going to talk about employees, sisi wafanyakazi tulioajiriwa katika sehemu mbalimbali, na our topic kubwa inaongelea high-functioning burnout. You know, when success is slowly breaking you. Tunapo struggle makazini kuhakikisha tunafanikisha kazi za watu, lakini we don't take time to look inside. You're the reliable one every day. You're the one who misses deadline. We be praised for that. You're the one people call at 9:47 p.m. and always pick up their call because you handle it. Because you're the one who is reliable. You smile in meetings, you deliver, and you achieve every goal you're given. But at night, when you're alone, you feel empty. Today, we're going to talk about the silent epidemic in the modern workplace. Something that people don't talk about often. We look healthy on the outside, but burning on the inside. The high-functioning burnout. This is not the burnout when someone collapses and quits. This is something that takes a toll on you slowly. This is the burnout where people keep winning while slowly losing themselves. The moment where you see you make progress in your career, unaona you're taking the step towards your goals career-wise. But deep inside, you're losing yourself. You seem productive. You give out every goal you're given, you produce, you give positive outcomes. You're praised by your colleagues, you're praised by management. You get promoted and everybody's happy. Because we are often able to see success on the outside, but not on the inside. On top of all being productive, being praised, you feel exhausted. You're exhausted every day, all the time. You feel numb and you've lost joy. You don't have time to rest. You don't have time to network with your family, your friends. You forget what it means to become human, to become happy again. This is when your performance stays high, but your spirit runs on empty. You know, you feel praised when you're at work, but when you're at home, you're alone, you're empty, you feel empty inside. This affects high achievers. It affects a lot of people who are productive at work and they don't take time to prioritize themselves. Affects managers, professionals, founders, healthcare workers, the strong ones, because you're still performing, no one checks on you, because you still deliver everything that you've been given, every KPI you're given, you're the one who is performing. Nobody takes time to check on you. But today, it's the time that you need to take a moment to look inside you. Look at what you need to do for yourself. Look at what you need to focus on, not just on the success on the outside, but how do you really feel about yourself? How do you really feel about your work? The modern culture rewards being busy, going to work, seem busy. When you're seen busy, people often mistake by being productive, always being reachable. Whenever you're needed, you're there. Constant self-improvement. You always want to improve yourself. You find side hustles just to achieve the best in life, which is good, rise and grind mentality. But have you ever taken a moment to think or to ask yourself, when was the last time you rested without feeling guilty? When was the time when you said intentionally that I'm going to rest without feeling guilty, without touching your phones and open the email applications, or opening your computer and checking what is missing. What haven't you done? What are you needed to be doing? If you're feeling guilty, then the feeling of being guilty is the red flag. It's the red flag, meaning that, toxic productivity, that's how it starts. Your success starts to feel toxic because it's slowly, if you slow down, someone else will overtake you. That's what you feel like. If you rest now, you won't get a lot done. Or if you say, I can rest after this next task that I'm doing, I'll rest after completing this task, I'll rest after I achieve this goal. See, I'm lucky to even have a job, I shouldn't complain. These are toxic productivity phrases that we always use to justify not having time to rest, not having time to prioritize our health. And I must tell you that if we are not careful doing ourselves a favor, we are dying slowly. We kill ourselves, we kill our morale, we kill our happiness, the joy that we have had before being employed, before getting into corporate culture. Now think about this. It's 1:38 a.m. You're exhausted, laying in bed. You have a meeting at 8 a.m. in the next day, but you're scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. Take a moment to look at yourself. Has it ever been you? Have you really been in these situations? Not because you're not tired. You are tired. But because it is the only time that feels like yours. You feel like this is the only time that you get to do these things. All day, time belonged to your boss. Time belonged to your supervisor. Time belonged to your employer. Time belonged to your clients. Time belonged to your emails. So at the time when you're alone at night, you steal time back. The time that you lost at work, the times that you've given to your employer, the time you've given to your clients, the time that you've given to your emails, that's the time you think, now, this is the time I need to get it back for me. Unfortunately, it is at the middle of the night, the time that you're supposed to be resting, the time that you're supposed to rejuvenating yourself for the next day, get your strength back to start strong in the next day, the following day. Now, I must tell you, sometimes this is not laziness, but it is simply emotional rebellion. You're trying to show that I can get time back, the time that I've lost. But again, if you keep doing that, and sometimes it happens, it becomes a pattern. You always sleep late, waking up early, start a busy day, tired every day. Doing these things steals our energy for tomorrow. All week, you're sharp, you're focused, high energy, delivering, but on a Saturday comes and suddenly headache, body pain, complaining you're tired, complaining you can't go out, sleeping all day, zero motivation. And our body has a way of shaming us slowly. Your body will tell you, your body waits until you're safe, then collapse. That's how it are. When we are always high, our body tends to forget about us. But when you feel safe, that's when the body starts to collapse. Because you are in a survival mode all week, all the time. And when the threat ends, when your nervous system finally drops and you crash completely. Sometimes you forget that we all need time to socialize with your colleagues, because every time your phone vibrates, you check nothing. Or you hear Slack or WhatsApp or Zoom or Teams, most of us who uses Microsoft Teams, when you hear a message, you check your phone. Your brain no longer knows the difference between rest and alert mode. Whenever your phone vibrates, even when you say, this is my time to rest, but when your phone vibrates, you're on top of it. You want to know what is happening, who has texted you, what email has come in, what it is that you needed to be doing. We become digitally tethered, always reachable, and always on standby. Even in church these days, I'm surprised when you see people taking their phone, chatting when it is the time for prayer. When we go for dinner, we chat, we forget the people who are closer to us. Even in bed, let's say you have your partner, the time for sleeping, for resting, to connect, that's the time everybody's on their phone. This is not healthy. And I must tell you, if we keep doing this, our body never fully exits the threat detection. And that's not normal, but we've normalized that. Especially for most of us Africans. Most of us grew up hearing, we survived the West. Everybody has the story to tell about how they grew up, how they have survived to become where they are. So we justify spending a lot of time working, spend a lot of time working hard, not having time to rest, just not to go through our trauma of the previous environment we've grown in. Sometimes when you try to express how you feel to your colleagues, to your family, you'll hear these phrases, at least you have a job. Many people are looking for what you have. Sometimes you must hear, be strong, and they don't know you're breaking. And depression is for rich people. Depression is not for us African. Haya ni magonjwa ya kuja, sio ya kwetu. But what happens when we hear these phrases? We start to not complaining in front of these people anymore. We start to suppress these feelings and we try to endure them. We start to stop complaining just because the community around us justifies depression with hard work, justifies being strong while you're burning and dying slowly. And if we keep suppressing and trying to endure with the notion that we are being strong, it's until it hits us, it's until it shows up as a chronic back pain. A lot of people complaining about back pain, migraines, high blood pressure, stomach ulcers, and this is what happens these days. A lot of staff are having stomach ulcers because of being busy, forgetting to eat, stress, suppressing their emotions, or irritability at home. When our emotions are not expressed, they are stored in our body. So if you don't express how you really feel, your body will speak out loud for you. Mental health is not a luxury anymore. Mental health, it's not something that we have to take it lightly these days. But rather, mental health, it's a maintenance of our body and minds together, just like servicing a car, just like maintaining your house. When the dining table is broken, you must fix it. You're maintaining it. So that is how we need to also maintain our body. Because to be all honesty, mental health these days is not a luxury, and it's not something that we need to take it lightly. We are the functioning body of ourselves, of our families, of our corporate world. We need to learn how to balance the two. Because sometimes when it looks like an ambition, because the society claps for it, when high-functioning burnout, but internally you lose passion, we lose the reason why you started working, the connected part that made you happy when you started working, why you applied for that job. You lose the passion. You start to detach emotionally, whether at work or at home. You start not to meet with your friends. You start to detach emotionally. slowly, and at the end of the day we become cynical, completely cynical. And sometimes you feel even numb when you're around people you love. Sometimes people don't get to understand how you really feel, and you're physically there with the people that you love, but emotionally you're not there because you're tired, because you're emotionally numb, because you've lost passion. You don't even know how you really feel. Remember, when we don't take enough time for ourselves, you don't suddenly break. We slowly fade. You start to break slowly every day. Our energy goes out, our passion is dying, our emotion is in shambles, and you don't really get to take time to think or to analyze yourself on what it is that is important to you. So remember, you don't suddenly break, you slowly fade. So if you think you're strong now, think about it 5-10 years down the line. How will it be? Take time to reflect. Take time to reflect about your health. Reflect about your mental health. Do you feel guilty resting? When you take time to rest, do you feel guilty? Even at work, sometimes you're tired and you need to take a walk. But when you do that, you start thinking, I haven't done that. I have a pending task I need to complete. If you start feeling guilty, then you should know what that means for you. Are you more tired on weekends than weekdays? When it is time for you to reconnect with your loved ones, you end up being indoors all day. Do you struggle to feel joy even when you succeed? Even when succeeding? You feel numb to celebrate your own success? Or do you stay up late just to feel free? You touch your phone, scroll over social media, staying up late just because you want to validate that you also have control of your time. Or are your headaches increasing? These are the questions that you can take a moment to think and feel that if you've answered yes to these 5 questions I've asked, then I think it's time for you to take your mental health seriously. It's time for you to take a step back and reflect seriously, because you don't have to collapse to deserve rest. You don't have to be told by the doctors that you're admitted because you need to rest. You don't have to fail to deserve support, because most of the times we fail just because we don't have the energy to go on anymore. And sometimes you don't have to quit to admit that you're tired, but you have to take time to find the rest that you deserve. Start slowly. Start slowly. One evening without notifications, without scrolling over social media. One night, just take a full night of sleep without staying up late. Disconnect fully when you get home. Disconnect completely from any social media, from any work-related tasks, from any device that will take you back to work. Computer, be it a tablet, be it your phone. Just disconnect. Start slowly. Make these micro changes and you will start to see changes. Put boundaries to emails. Put boundaries to official phone calls. Put boundaries to working time. You need time for family. You need time for your loved ones. You need time for yourself, most important of all. And sometimes success should not cost your nervous system. Success should not cost your health. You're not allowed to succeed and still need support. When you're at your 40s, 50s, when you feel you've hit the jackpot, but you end up visiting a lot of hospitals just because you didn't take care of yourself. This is the time that you need to take a moment to reflect and take charge of your mental health. We'll end up here for today. Thank you a lot for listening. Until the next time. If you have any comment, please reach out to our social media on MentifyTz at MentifyTz on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Put your comments there. Tell us when was the last time you took a total rest. Do you feel guilty resting? Are you more tired on weekends than on weekdays? Do you struggle to feel joy even when you're succeeding? Do you stay up late just to feel free? Or are your headache increasing during the weekend or during the time that you say, this is the moment for me to rest? Take your time, and hopefully maybe one day everything else will make sense. Your mental health is your priority. You don't have to suddenly break. You have to prepare your health. You have to take care of your mental health. Your mental health is not a luxury anymore. Your mental health should be your priority. Thank you. Until the next one.